It is known as a game of titans.
He's a giant among giants.
A place where towering superstars wage epic battles.
Just relentlessly pounding away with the superior advantage they have.
And where fans gaze upward to watch their heroes soar through the air above. But when marveling at the NBA's magnificent athletes, there is another type of star to consider.
Moves with the grace and the speed of a ballet dancer.
One that shows his brilliance closer to the earth.
Another one of those magical moves.
To appreciate the beauty of these natural wonders,
Beautiful, beautiful. That's all you can describe that shot with.
fans must set their sights below the rim. From the NBA's earliest days, big men dominated the game and the headlines. The league's first superstar was towering George Mikan, the center of the Minneapolis Lakers, who led his team to 3 straight championships in the 1950s. But as the fledgling NBA looked to take its place in the national spotlight, it would turn its eyes to a different kind of star, a smaller player who brought new creativity and flair to the game and grabbed the attention of fans across the country like never before.
I think Cousy was to the NBA what Babe Ruth was to baseball. Cousy put a lot of flash into what he did. Cousy was putting the ball behind his back, and he'd do all these spectacular ball handling things, and it looked like magic. He not only helped the NBA, but he helped establish the franchise in Boston and created fans.
Nicknamed the Houdini of the hardwood, Bob Cousy was the NBA's first true showman, and quickly he was playing to packed houses in every city.
It's entertainment. We're all, in that sense, if we're honest with ourselves, I suppose we're all kind of show-offs in the sense that, you know, we want to display our skills, we want to be successful, and we want the appreciation of the audience.
Cousy was more than just a sideshow, however. Carefully orchestrating the Celtics' offense, he displayed an uncanny court sense that helped him revolutionize the role of playmaker.
Cousy would really hit the open man, and when you got the ball, you were just in the position where you could take the shot. You never got the ball before you got to your position. Cousy would not give it to you.
Cousy would lead the league in assists for 8 straight seasons, be named to the All-NBA First Team 10 straight times, and become the first guard to be named the league's most valuable player. But perhaps his greatest legacy is his unmatched record of team success. For over a decade, it seemed that a championship celebration in Boston was an annual rite.
It's all over, and there they go. They've won it again.
Collecting an unprecedented 6 titles in 7 years, Cousy fashioned a long list of memorable performances. But perhaps none summed up his brilliant career better than his last.
Everybody on our ball club truly respected Cousy's ability and wanted him to go out with a championship.
In Game 6 of the 1963 Finals, the Celtics were on the verge of sealing their gift to their leader by delivering another title. But as Cousy injured his ankle, it seemed that his farewell would now be tainted by disappointment.
It made for a dramatic moment because of the circumstances. My last game, the end of a career, the world championship on the line.
But drama was what Cousy had always thrived on, and now would not be an exception.
Cousy came back onto the court, and really his experience and knowing what he could do under those circumstances really helped us emotionally.
Leading his team one last time, he would ensure that his curtain call would end appropriately in championship celebration.
I was very pleased that I was able to get back in and finish in that fashion and throw the ball to the ceiling and hug Russell and now back, and because it was obviously a meaningful moment for me. This was the culmination of 13 years, another championship, So the whole set of circumstances, created the most emotional experience of my career.
Cousy would leave the game as the father of a new style of basketball and as the pioneer for generations of little men to follow.
All I've heard recently is how you're going to replace Bob. That's my answer. Can't be done because that's Mr. Basketball. Thank you.
Red Auerbach was right. Bob Cousy was irreplaceable. And while there were other undersized players who thrived after the Cousy's retirement, they couldn't equal him in style or in stature. Ultimately, it would be up to Cousy himself to find his rightful heir. In 1970, as coach of the Cincinnati Royals, he would discover an obscure point guard from the University of Texas, El Paso, and dramatically change his destiny.
When Cousy saw me, we sat down. He came to the hotel and we sat down, and he was talking about just drafting me. And I just for being 6 feet or 5'11" or whatever size I was, I grew. I was 8 feet tall when he told me that because I didn't really think I had a chance to play in the NBA.
Cousy would not only provide Tiny Archibald with a chance, but also with an education.
Coos sat down with me after almost every game and explained to me not about scoring, about running the team.
Though he would take Cousy's lessons to heart, Tiny would also stay true to his own philosophy.
My concept was to attack people. I wanted people to know that I was on the court. I didn't want people to know that, well, he's relaxed, he's cool, he's in his cool. I didn't play like that.
Using his blinding speed and fearless attitude, Tiny quickly developed into a superstar and exceeded even his mentor's expectations.
Well, I used to tell Tiny, if you're racing down the floor and you see me jump up calling for time, ignore me and go do your thing, create an opportunity. Well, you've got a player like an Archibald who can create whatever they want at any time they want. You're much better off letting them do it.
Whether running his team's offense or piling up points himself, Archibald demoralized opposing defenses. And in 1974, he would become the only player in history to lead the league in scoring and assists in a single season. But one thing he could not match was Cousy's collection of championships.
Our team was so weak offensively that we demanded that he do just about everything. And he literally carried us on his shoulders. It's amazing we didn't wear him out.
Finally, Tiny did wear out. In 1977, he tore his Achilles tendon and sat out over a season and a half. And at age 30, he found himself with the Celtics, his mentor's former franchise, hoping for one more chance.
When I went to Boston, they were actually saying, let's trade Tiny, let's see what we can get for him. He's through. He had the injury. He'd had a bad season the year before, and it really looked like his career had come to an end.
But though Tiny may have lost a step, he hadn't lost his fierce determination.
Tiny in the lane, plays it up and in. Tiny Archibald.
Tiny is something else, I'll tell you.
I want to win. I want to win. That's the only thing I want to do. I want to win. And I remember this to today. Cool said, one of these days, you're going to get a chance to do that.
Archibald. Archibald, he can penetrate. That was a great play. Look at the back.
Tiny would regain his all-star status and become the Celtics captain and emotional catalyst.
Now they're all and they're beating Boston.
He gave us a great deal of the fight and grit that we had and the character, because here's a guy that everybody had counted out. And when they saw him get up from a 9 count and go on to bigger and better things, I think it was the type of thing that gives you that quiet leadership.
In leading the talent-laden Celtics, Tiny would sacrifice his scoring and concentrate on distributing the ball. And fittingly, in the tradition of Cousy himself, he would drive the Celtics all the way to a championship.
He was surrounded by talented players, and he literally played them like a conductor. He had become the complete prototype point guard.
For all the inroads that Cousy and Tiny had made, the trend towards bigger players became stronger than ever. By the 1970s, even the guards were getting bigger. And as a 6'9" point guard named Magic Johnson led the Lakers to a championship in 1980, it seemed as if the time for the little man was all but over. But the very next year, the Detroit Pistons would risk the future of the franchise by selecting 6'1" Isiah Thomas as their new cornerstone.
When I came into the league, guys like me weren't being allowed in the league anymore. The point guard position had developed to someone of 6'8", 6'9", and up. I had to do things differently because of my size.
Using his size as an asset, Isiah mesmerized taller opponents.
Thomas again. He's amazing. What a move by Isiah. He is lighting this place up.
I was a different kind of point guard that I could handle the ball well, break down the defense, get into the lane. So I was very creative with the basketball, which enabled me to basically be able to go anywhere on the court that I wanted to go, regardless of people's height.
Isiah would quickly pile up individual accomplishments, but his goals lay elsewhere.
I went beyond the point of just playing and having fun. I was very obsessed with winning, and there was nothing that was going to stand in my way of winning a championship.
Thomas would drive the Pistons into the NBA elite, and by 1987 had them ready to make a title run.
Here's Isiah. Let's see what we got. All the way up. Go!
Detroit would make it all the way to the Eastern Conference Finals. And facing the defending champion Celtics, Isiah had them moments away from taking control of the series in Game 5.
Seasting right in his face. Thomas with a very big bucket. And it's Detroit by 17.
But the Pistons' moment of destiny would slip away into the waiting hands of Larry Bird.
Thomas wants to get it in quickly. Does the Lambeer. Stolen by Bird and the cut to DJ. Yes! Unbelievable!
What a mistake. Veteran players cannot make that kind of mistake.
Isiah would overcome his disappointment to lead the Pistons to the finals the very next year.
Isiah Thomas is hurt down on the court underneath the basket.
But facing Magic Johnson's Lakers, Isiah would again see fate turn against him. Twice, Isiah had taken his team to the brink of success, only to be turned away both times by bigger players.
For, 5-6 years, I had been fighting the perception that little people aren't, ever gonna win championships. So you're like right in the middle of the mountain and you're saying, man, do I wanna climb all the way up and finish, or do I just wanna go back down? And that was kind of the point where I said, I'm gonna keep climbing.
In 1989, Isiah would drive the Pistons back to the finals, where they would again face Magic and the Lakers. This time, however, he would simply refuse to be denied.
Oh, what a shot! Magic was in his jersey.
He is just showing so much heart and determination for the Pistons. How many times have we seen Isiah? He presses the inner button in the heart, and all of a sudden he just takes it on.
Isiah would finally have his moment of destiny, and fittingly, his victory would be over the player who embodied the trend he had struggled against for so long.
It feels like heaven. Like the Ohio player said, heaven must be like this. Heaven must be like this.
And assuring his place in history, Isiah would lead Detroit to a second straight championship and be named Finals MVP.
And Isiah Thomas having an incredible rise again. Makes again. He owns the night,
His message to the rest of the basketball world could not have been clearer.
Perception was that no matter how good the little guy was, you always had to have a big guy to win. And I wanted to change perception. So the fans would honestly look and say, that little guy, I know he's little, but he got a chance against this 6'9", 6'10" guy. He can beat him.
With Isiah's success, the NBA gained newfound appreciation for small, quick players. Suddenly, every franchise looked to get one, and the Cleveland Cavaliers ended up with the lucky dilemma of having two. First, they would acquire point guard Mark Price. Then, following his disappointing rookie season, they would look for another one.
I didn't know how much I was in their plans at that point, and so all I could do was prepare myself for training camp and be as ready as possible. But, you know, just knowing someone's coming in to take your job, you know, makes you work a little bit harder.
Motivated by Kevin Johnson's presence, Price refused to relinquish his starting job.
Brilliant exhibition by the second-year kid.
KJ would be traded to Phoenix before the year was out, and Price had begun his rise to stardom.
Knocked back outside. Loose ball saved by Price. Minority. Back to Price. Three for the corner. Good!
Mark Price outside left, shoots up the left corner, and that's it. Price split the double beautifully. Let the jumper fly, and Mark Price took him to school that trip.
I've never seen anybody shoot the ball as well as Mark. He's got the same rhythm every time. I've never seen anybody with as much confidence on their shot as Mark. This guy thinks he can hit 40-foot shots sometimes, and he will.
Price for three, and oh, this place erupted as Price hit another bomb.
Price would become regarded as one of the game's premier shooters, and in 1994 he would dramatically add to his reputation as he put on one of the long-distance shootout's most phenomenal performances.
Mark Price with the money ball again, putting on a show. Look at this. The record is 25 points. Finish it out, Mark. Finish it out. The angelic face of Mark Price with the eyes of the assassin. But he is the 1994 AT&T long-distance shootout champion.
And though he is now firmly established as a star, Price still takes nothing for granted.
I go out every night feeling like I'm the underdog. I go out every night feeling like the guy I'm playing has more talent, more ability. And I don't know, I get excited about trying to go out and see what I can do.
As KJ had inspired Price, so too had Johnson learned a valuable lesson from their competition.
To be honest, the one thing in Cleveland I didn't do is be myself. I didn't let my true personality show. I was a rookie, and I really felt like I was walking on eggshells. And the moment that I got traded to Phoenix, I said, whether I fail or whether I succeed, I got to do things the way I think they need to be done.
Back on the Suns, trying to get within one. KJ left hand, got it.
Giving full rein to his fiery intensity, KJ now took the lead by storm.
Kevin Johnson takes it in for two more. Unbelievable offense. KJ with a stutter spinning move, driving. Oh, it's an all-star.
I'm realizing what I need to do for our team to be effective, and that's just when I get the ball, just try to push it down the other team's throat. I mean, make them gag on it if they have to.
Establishing himself as one of the league's most unstoppable point guards, Johnson became the driving force behind the perennially powerful Suns.
KJ backing it on Mojiks. Good driving. I love to see that. Oh, brother. Whoa, my goodness.
What you do, you just get the hell out of his way. You give him the ball and say, okay, make sure if he needs your help, you're there. But just let him go.
A highlight show. You'll be seeing that on your local newscast.
Well, I think the greatest thing Kevin brings to the team, besides his talents, is his great will to win. It's contagious, and he's a great competitor, and that rubs off.
As Johnson and Price both reached stardom, the little man had never enjoyed greater prominence. And when Dream Team 2 was selected, they came full circle and found themselves as teammates. But while KJ and Price had been spurring each other on to new heights, another young point guard star had also been rising. Hailing from Isaiah Thomas's hometown of Chicago, Tim Hardaway shared his flair for the spectacular.
Isaiah was my idol when I was in high school and in grammar school. Freaking him out there on the court, making great passes and putting it between his legs, behind his back, and having fun out there.
A lot of people, before he got drafted, said, what about this guy, Tim Hardaway? I said, he's dynamite.
Like Tiny, Hardaway played in relative obscurity at the University of Texas, El Paso. But Tim was ready to make his impact on the NBA.
I've been playing against bigger guys all my life, so I know how to go in there and take the contact and shoot over a big guy. Sometimes they get it, but most of the time they don't. When I got the ball, I think I go to the hole anytime, create a shot or create a shot for my teammates at any time of the game.
I think Tim had a burning desire like I did about playing professional basketball. I think now that he's past that plateau about getting into the league, now it's all about stardom.
As Hardaway began to attract attention, he captivated fans with his spellbinding skills, and especially his trademark move, the crossover dribble.
The killer crossover. Oh, brother. Hardaway fakes the three, gets around Lang, gets around Curry, puts it up. Hardaway backs off on Thomas. What a move! Oh, did he explode and it goes? That was brilliant.
I've seen people with great crossovers, and they were effective with it. But Tim is so fast. Not only will he blow by you, he will embarrass you when he goes by you.
Tim sets you up. You know, a couple times come down the court, he'll fake like he'll bring it over. He'll laugh at you a little bit. He waits for you to relax, and that's when he embarrasses you.
He made John Stockton. He was coming at him at full speed. He went back, back, back. He looked at Stockton and was like, man, what you doing? It was awesome.
While Hardaway won notoriety with his dazzling moves, he won hearts with his contagious enthusiasm. A natural media star, he brought the little man to the attention of a new generation of fans.
Tim Hardaway's going to show us how to shoot when the wind's up. I got skills.
That's me right there. May not look like me because you know it's on TV and it's on a shirt, but it's me. Have I said anything that jeopardized me? Oh, have I? What did I say? Oh! I can't fly like Michael, but I can fly down a court.
One of only 5 players to average 20 points and 10 assists per game in back-to-back seasons, Hardaway took his place not only as one of the league's most liked players, but also one of its most accomplished. And no one has enjoyed the process more than Tim himself.
That's all about, having fun, making the game exciting, getting the crowd into it. I'm just one of the lucky guys to just come in the league, play well, big knowledge, and having fun while I'm doing it.
Here we go, Hardaway, and it is good! Unbelievable! An unbelievable shot from behind the midcourt line.
2 other pioneers who have made crucial contributions to the history of the little man are Spud Webb and Muggsy Bogues. Standing only 5'7" tall, Spud was largely overlooked in the 1985 draft. Taken on the 4th round by the Detroit Pistons, who already had Isaiah Thomas, he was cut before ever getting to training camp.
Well, I feel like I didn't get a chance, to show my skills or go out and prove myself that I could play in the NBA.
Picked up by the Hawks, Spud would get his chance when the starting point guard was injured.
I remember the first practice in training camp. I'm sitting there with a cast on my hand, and I see this guy whipping up and down the court, shooting, going by guys, giving assists, and I turned to Dominique and I said, I better get healthy quickly.
But once Spud had been given his chance, there was no stopping him. He would make the Hawks' offense his own, quickly winning the starting job.
Oh, what a shot by Webb!
Oh, he's a tough little customer.
He has a lot of heart. I think that's the biggest thing about him. He isn't afraid. He gets in there, he mixes it up, and he gets bounced around off those big guys and get up and keep going.
Spud would go beyond being an unlikely success story. Playing for the Hawks and the Sacramento Kings, he would become one of the league's steadiest point guards. But perhaps he'll be remembered most for his exploits in the 1986 Slam Dunk Championship, an event usually reserved for bigger men.
No one in the gym, no one watching on TV, no one sitting at home on their big lazy boy chair think you can win.
Undaunted, Spud would quickly steal the show.
Spud, first attempt.
Oh, my! 5'7", Spud Webb. Oh, what a two-hander.
he would announce to the basketball world that size was no object.
Look, Phil, you get done. I'm leaving.
Mike awesome lob and Rivers.
Yes, come on now. Come on.
Oh my, that's the cherry on the sundae. Our new slam dunk champion with an incredible upset, Spud Webb.
I think it changed the way we look at smaller guys. That year I came out and won the dunk contest, and then in the actual was playing in a part of a winning team.
For all of Spud's accomplishments, Muggsy Bogue's story is perhaps even more incredible. At only 5'3", he entered the NBA as the shortest player in league history. And as he joined the Washington Bullets, who also boasted the league's tallest player, it seemed that he would be more of an oddity than a legitimate player.
When I first got drafted, I thought, they was really committed to me. But as the season went along, I just saw it as a novelty act, just something to sell tickets.
After a frustrating rookie season, he was left unprotected in the expansion draft. But turning this apparent rejection into an opportunity, he would make his mark with the Charlotte Hornets.
Bogues at the top, penetrates, goes in for the layup. It is good.
Is he exciting? I'd pay to see him.
He just disrupts everything.
What a steal by Muggsy Bogues.
No guys running around in between your legs.
Pounded by Muggsy.
He just plays with so much heart and hustle.
Fumbled for a moment. Bogues picks his pocket.
I try to put pressure on my opponent every time, and I know that I'm going to get it sooner or later.
Stolen by Muggsy.
In addition to his defensive skills, Muggsy also became a premier playmaker.
Great pass by Muggsy.
I feel very comfortable dribbling the basketball without looking at it, and they allow me to look around and see what's going on out on the basketball court.
From 1990 to 1994, only John Stockton accumulated more assists, a feat that Muggsy's teammates clearly appreciated.
It makes me run harder because I know that, hey, if I run, I'm going to get the ball. He's always told me, Joe, you run out, I will see you.
Muggsy's inspirational story has made him a fan favorite, especially for smaller fans.
Go Muggsy!
For them, he's a role model with whom they can easily identify.
Muggsy!
I really never thought about my height. Other people see me as 5'3". I just see myself as a person and not really any height. I just play my game and just play the best way I know how.
For all the obstacles that Spud and Muggsy overcame, Mahmoud Abdul-Rauf, formerly Chris Jackson, faced equally daunting odds. At only 6 feet tall, he entered the NBA as a shooting guard, a position that has come to be dominated by taller players. Judging from his stellar college career, however, he seemed more than qualified. At LSU, he piled up more points and a higher scoring average than any other first-year player in history. He became only the second freshman to be named first-team All-American and garnered SEC Player of the Year honors in his first 2 seasons. So by the time he entered the NBA, he seemed ready for the challenge ahead.
With the 3rd pick in the 1990 NBA draft, the Denver Nuggets select Chris Jackson from LSU.
This is like a dream come true, and I'm just glad that they picked me, and I'm going to do whatever I can to please them.
But his dream come true quickly became a nightmare as he struggled beneath the weight of superstar expectations.
Chris Jackson denied, rejected by Eldon Campbell.
Jackson, flick of the wrist. Chris Jackson can't buy one tonight.
Out of shape and demoralized, Jackson found himself on the bench, and whispers of a wasted draft pick began to haunt him.
Man, oh man, is he ever struggling.
The first 2 years was a trial for me. Frustrating year, I wasn't in shape, and I take all the blame for it. I started doubting myself and losing some confidence, and I just started alienating myself from the teammates because of what was going on.
But Jackson was not a stranger to adversity. Since childhood, he had suffered from Tourette syndrome, a nervous disorder that often made even normal daily tasks a trial.
It was hard when I was young because that's when the nicknames came. You're crazy, what's wrong with you? And I think I dealt with it pretty good. I think I've always had the ability to understand and to go on with my life, even at a young age. Tourette's helped me as a person and as a basketball player to understand what it is that I need to do and must do to persevere.
Now, at a crossroads, Jackson would need every bit of his emotional resilience to revive his failing career.
One of my friends, we went to the store one night, and he picked up an article, and it said something, I was a bust, that I didn't supposed to be in the NBA, and it hurt me. And I just looked at him and I said, from now on, I'm not playing anymore. I'm taking this serious for good. And from then on, I just started working harder and harder.
Jackson would enter his third season with renewed determination. And with the hiring of new coach Dan Issel, he would quickly get the chance to test it.
Chris was the first player I talked to when I got the job, and we had a conversation that lasted about 2 minutes. I said, the slate is clean, and as far as I'm concerned, you start all over. Chris went out, got himself in great shape, lost about 23 pounds, and he has been terrific from the first day of training camp.
Fakes left, goes right, switches in the air. Chris Jackson putting on a show. Chris Jackson, a trendsetter. Here's the three. Chris Jackson on fire. Oh, man. And it is now bedlam here at McNichols Arena. They have queued in to the new Chris Jackson. He races by Robinson. Jackson on the run, behind the back. Slam home by Mutombo. 1-2 combination of Jackson and Mutombo. We're on the threshold of seeing the newest Nugget sensation. A bust the first 2 years. Chris Jackson is showing the Nuggets fans what he's been all about.
Now, fulfilling his great promise, Jackson would capture the NBA's Most Improved Player award, and completing the dramatic change in his life, he would turn to Islam and change his name to Mahmoud Abdul Rauf. He is now recognized as one of the league's brightest young stars. But for all his success, he will never forget the lessons of his struggles.
A lot of things that I went through as far as first 2 years in the NBA, a lot of the problems that I was having, I think it put things in perspective and made me appreciate more what it is that I have and what I had to go through to get it.
Jackson, can they pull it off? 5 seconds to Jackson. Here it is, the three in the game. What a way to go. Chris Jackson, as he's done so many times before.
Beautiful feed, slammed up, what a pass.
He's a guy that's giving it all he has every time he's out there. You know, that's you don't see that in a lot of players.
Stockton behind, backs it away, Stockton the ball. Stockton all the way in, chased in, a foul hard from behind.
John Stockton, in my opinion, is the greatest point guard ever played the game.
No good, rebound, Stockton. Stockton double pump, put it in. Incredible.
He has the imagination. It's for him. It's a dance. It's an art.
It's like watching an artist work. John Stockton penetrating and dishing off at the last second.
30 years after Bob Cousy pioneered the way for smaller players, no one carries the torch he lit more proudly than John Stockton of the Utah Jazz. For Stockton is a throwback to the classic small guard model first defined by the Coos, a modern-day anachronism whose playing style and mindset are vintage reminders of his hardwood heritage.
Stockton is the Cousy of this era.
A classic old-time floor leader, Stockton even looks like the basketball player Norman Rockwell would have painted.
What a pass, John Stockton.
But the angelic appearance masks a bulldog toughness and determination. Whether he's shredding defenses with precision passes or disrupting offenses with his tenacious ball hawking, Stockton never gives in to opponents or to his lack of size.
I know over the years I've seen guys that feel like if they throw you down or if they knock you down hard, that means you're going to stop doing what you're going to do. And that to me would make me a far less effective player if I allowed that to happen. So yeah, it may cost me a lot of pain, but I think you have to go back out and do what you do.
What a play, marvelous. John Stockton.
Never used excuses. You know, I've seen him, you know, with a little nagging injury here, a little nagging injury there, and right at game time, I say, "Are you ready to go?" Yep.
John Stockton's durability is not only the stuff of legend, it has also helped him mount a determined assault on the NBA record books.
Stock on the run, left side of Corbin, in for the layup. Slammed up.
A myriad of assist titles already belong to him, and in all likelihood he will go down in history as the most productive point guard of all time.
No look at the Russell. What a pass. Oh, baby.
Like his legendary counterparts of days gone by, however, the only number that really matters to John Stockton is the final score.
If you're 0-40, then it doesn't really matter what your stats are. Certainly you want to play well, you want to contribute, but if you're not winning, it's garbage.
Stockton has elevated his Utah Jazz to the level of perennial contender and elevated the standard of smaller players to new heights. With his many all-star appearances and his election to the original Dream Team, he has added another brilliant chapter to the history of the game's great little men.
By Stockton. He came out of nowhere like a blur.
The biggest thing is you can't believe in what people tell you about your limits. They can tell you that you're too small, they can tell you you're too slow, but I think you look around the league and you find guys that are too small, too slow, not good enough shooters, not good enough passers, whatever, that are making it because they believe in themselves and they believe in it, that they can change the game through accentuating what they do well.
Stockton, a three-pointer at the buzzer. Yes, John Stockton, the greatest point guard ever to play the game.
As John Stockton has been rewriting the record books and evoking comparisons to great point guards past, a new wave of little men has already started to emerge, and they've been led by a brilliant playground legend who has already established a compelling style of his own.
Down the run. Anderson, gotta love it.
One of the game's most innovative young players, Kenny Anderson seems to possess a limitless wellspring of creativity.
Anderson through the lane.
Instinct, you know, you're coming down the break. You're not going to say, hey, I'm going to slow down and wait for my teammate to make that pass to the left. You're just going to play off instinct.
On the run. Kenny the Kid through the lane. Sleight of hand.
You have to know how your players want the ball, where they want the ball, and you have to run the team.
Here is Kenny Anderson. Comes Coleman on the film.
He helps everybody's game. Helps me out tremendously, and just his way of getting to the basket. You never think, you know, he squeezed through those little holes, but he managed. He's like Speedy Gonzalez.
Growing up on the playgrounds of New York City, Kenny's basketball inspiration was nurtured from an early age, as he seemed always to have NBA greatness in his future.
My uncle and my brothers, they always said I always wanted to carry a basketball or play with one, and when guys would take it away, I'd start crying.
We lived in an apartment complex where we overlooked the basketball court. And I'd look out at maybe 12 o'clock, 1 o'clock in the morning, and I'd look downstairs and I'd see a couple of guys playing, and it'd be him. He'd be out there playing at 1 o'clock, 12 o'clock at night in the dark, and you couldn't really tell who was who. And you say, wow, somebody's playing really well out there. So, oh, that's Kenny, don't worry about it, that's little Kenny.
From a city that has produced a long line of legendary point guards, including Bob Cousy and Tiny Archibald, Kenny is perhaps its most celebrated, standing alone as the only player to be named All-City 4 consecutive years.
He's the greatest guard in the history of New York City basketball.
Continuing to dazzle basketball experts at the college level, he left his mark as one of its most sensational players.
Look out. Uh-oh. Yes. Oh, I can't believe it. I can't believe it. I'm going to do a little dance. Oh, that's awesome. Now you take a look at this. I mean, Isaiah Thomas is jumping out of his seat right now. He changes direction between his legs. Curly says, what do I got to do? I can't believe this guy. This is impossible. He says, Dad.
Picked by the New Jersey Nets as the second player in the 1991 draft, he was looked to as an instant savior. But as he struggled through his rookie year, the questions that have always hounded smaller players began to surface.
Anderson, a rough first half. 0 points.
But like the great little men who have gone before him, Kenny took it upon himself to fight through the adversity.
I didn't play a lot. I wasn't happy. I was depressed at times. But patience is a virtue, and I just waited. And I said, you know, when my time comes, I'm gonna be ready. I ain't gonna let this pass me by.
Over to Kenny Anderson. That's on the run. Whoa! You gotta love it!
In his second season, Anderson would be given a chance to redeem himself, and he wouldn't waste it. Though he stayed true to his instinctive approach, he played with new determination and resolve.
By Kenny. That's Kenny Anderson vintage. At his very best.
Quickly blossoming into a superstar, he again became a trendsetter with his distinctive style.
Here's Anderson to the hoop, just blows by.
Things that he does on the court are the way of the successful people in our league have turned to or are doing. And those are the things that come natural to him.
With his brilliant basketball imagination, Kenny has ably taken on the task of helping to lead little men into the future and has already earned comparisons to some of the transcendent stars who have borne the standard before him.
It's great, you know, to be mentioned in the same breath with these guys, you know, especially Tiny Archibald and Isaiah Thomas, you know, Bob Cousy, and that's my main goal, you know, to get all the accomplishments that these guys achieved.
Anderson has it. 6, 5, 4. Kenny wants to take it himself. Oh!